This is a GCSE chemistry tutorial within topic 8. This video will look at purity and formulations. In this video we will look at what is meant by purity in chemistry, we'll look at the differences between pure substances and mixtures, and we'll look at how purity affects both melting and boiling points. So what do we mean by purity? Well, purity in chemistry is differently used to purity in everyday language. In everyday language, we'd consider something to be pure if it had nothing added to it. For example, pure orange juice. However, in chemistry, a pure substance is something that only contains one compound or element. Therefore, that element or compound has not been mixed with anything else. We can then look at the boiling and melting points to see if we have a pure substance or a mixture. Any substance that is impure will have its melting and boiling points changed. Impurities will cause the melting point to become lower and the boiling point to become higher. They also mean that we end up with a range for our boiling or melting point, rather than an exact boiling point or melting point as we would find in a pure substance. Here we can see the differences between pure and impure substances. So a pure substance contains only one type of particle, that could be the atom or molecule, and it has a clear melting point and it would have a clear boiling point at an exact point. We can see that we have only got one type of atom or molecule present. So here we have pure water with only water molecules present. An impure substance is what is known as a mixture. This contains more than one type of particle, be that atoms or molecules. The melting point becomes lower and the boiling point becomes higher, and we get a melting or a boiling across a range of temperatures. We can see here that we have got two different molecules or atoms that have been mixed together. This could be water with dissolved salts in it. For GCSE, you also need to be able to identify how to separate mixtures. Unlike in a compound, there are no chemical bonds between the different parts of a mixture. This means that they can easily be separated. This can be done via filtration, crystallization, simple distillation, fractional distillation, or chromatography. We will look at each of these in more detail in the next tutorial video. You also need to know about formulations. Formulations are very useful mixtures which have a specific makeup. This means that they're made following a specific formula. This means that each component, each part that's making up the formulation, is present in a specific measured quantity. Therefore, we know exactly what is in it, and the material has been made in order to be safe to consume or for it to be used as a medicine. One example is paint. What is this made up of? Well, paint is first of all made up of pigment. That's the coloured bit of the paint, so that's what gives it its colour. For example, titanium oxide would be used to colour white paints. We then have the solvent. That's the liquid bit that the other components are dissolved into. The other components being examples of solutes. We then have the binder or the resin. That's the bit that keeps the paint in place, so once you paint it onto the wall, that's what keeps it on the wall. And then finally we have our additives. So this is to change the physical and chemical properties of the paint in order so that the paint is completely right for the job. However, formulations aren't just used for paint. They can also be used in many other industries. For example, in the pharmaceutical industry. This is very important as it allows chemists to make sure that the drugs that they are making will work as expected. Also that it's safe for human consumption and that it will be able to sit on a shelf for a long time. We also find formulations in everything from cleaning products into fertilisers, as you will look at in the triple only topic NPK fertilisers, as well as in food and drink. Often when you buy a product you will find information about its composition on the packaging. For example, you might find an exact formulation or you might find a ratio or percentage of each ingredient.